Welcome, rsatalkshow viewers. Today we're at the Bloemfontein campus at the University of Free State. Guys, I'm very happy today, guys. We have an honorable guest and from the LGBTQ community, Mr. Khawelo Mudiana. We'll be discussing the motivation and the inspiration in the LGBT community, guys, today, and I would love you to comment there on the comment section just to get a mere understanding of what's happening within our society, what's happening within the world. Good afternoon, how are you, sir?
Good afternoon, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm happy.
It's nice, thank you for having me.
First question, when you enter, when we receive you,
Okay.
when you open the door and enter, who do we see? What do we receive?
Okay, firstly, when you open the door and then I get into the building, number one, you see somebody who's in love with themselves, somebody who takes a lot of care about themselves, and who just doesn't mind what other people think, because I do not mind what anybody else does about their life and whatnot. So like, I'm just me. You just find somebody who's real about themselves and who stays honest to what they want, and yeah, that's basically one about me.
One of the things that I really love, I've been following you on a social media platform, I think close to a year now.
Okay.
And I've seen there's something that I love about people who becoming true to who they are.
Mm-hmm.
The more you becoming your own self, the more people love you and get embraced.
Exactly.
The magic behind you, what gave you the strength to stand? Because it's not easy for a lot of people in any other aspect besides LGBTQ to say, I stand for this. This is who I am.
I feel like a lot of people, we restrict ourselves, or we try to reserve ourselves to follow a protocol that is regarded to be as normal. Firstly, I think I had to understand that there's no such thing as normal. Normal is going to be different to each and every person. What is normal to you cannot be normal to me. However, I'm no longer sticking to the normal of the society. The society feels like it's normal for a certain person to behave a certain way. For example, even if you're still in the LGBTQI community, it is said that, for example, if you're gay, you're supposed to be behaving a certain way. It's like a norm that people are having, or some kind of like a stereotype. So I had to be like, okay, fine, I'm not sticking to this normal. I am being myself. Whether being me doesn't accommodate you or suit you or doesn't feel right about you or next to you, if for example we're in the same environment and then you feel like if I'm being myself, it kind of in a way disturbs you, then you'll stay away from me. Because at the end of the day, what we have to understand, whether you're part of the LGBTQI community, whether you're a heterosexual person, at the end of the day, we all are human. And if you are a human, you have your own personality, you have your own way of carrying yourself. So I feel like I had to stick with who I am and not who the society expects me to be. Okay. If you get the idea.
Yeah,
like the society already on its own, it has the expectation of you, for example, as a heterosexual person, you're not allowed to wear heels. I'm just making a practical example. It's a norm. But then nobody said that just because you're heterosexual or you're straight, you're not allowed to wear heels. So for me, staying like the magic behind me being who I am is just like cutting the normals and just being myself, and nothing has ever been felt this great before in my life. Just being me, doing me. Honestly,
one of the questions that I've been asking myself, it's the glamour behind you. Mm-hmm. What's your magic? Because like whenever I open up I love checking your comments also. The people who comment on your thingy, I'm like, how are you doing it?
I can't say I have a particular reason or like a protocol that I follow. Okay. I just feel like people will eventually get attracted to like your trueness and like how real you are to yourself. You don't actually have to do a lot about it as an individual. They will eventually get attracted to you. You be some sort of like a magnet. If you're real to yourself. Honestly speaking, when it comes to my social media platform, I'm really grateful about the audience that I have and the engagement that I get from the people, because like even the support that I get there, it's kind of like overwhelming sometimes, you know, like even if I feel like I'm on my bed, but then maybe I post a picture of myself, I get the compliments that actually make me keep going. And then people would actually be feeling that sometimes people don't understand that they can make or break you. So like when it comes to my social media platforms, they make me a lot. Like the compliments that I get, even like, you know, people who are like, you don't know, but they are watching you. And then just you wake up one day, you get a random text from somebody like, I've been watching you. It's been more than 2 years now. I love how real you are to yourself. You're actually inspiring me. That on its own will turn into an inspiration to yourself that, okay, fine. Now at least there's somebody who's watching me. I have to stay real, because if I don't, or if I miss a certain point, that particular somebody is not going to see what they see in me anymore. So like, you have to stay real to yourself, because, you know, it inspires you as an individual to know that you inspire other people as well. So yeah, my social media platform and the engagement, it just came on its own. I feel like, okay, fine. It started like, you know, we all start somewhere, right? So it started, I don't know, around about maybe when I was in matric. But like the engagement back then, you know, like when you had like, for example, like 700 people engaging you in your content, it was like a lot of achievement back then. So like, it's been like that before. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Do you ever feel scared at some point, fearing?
Fearing is, yo, sometimes, you know, when it comes to me, I forget about everything that I am, and just tell myself that I'm a human being at the end of the day. Whether I grow stressed, whether I decide to braid my hair today, whether I decide to look like a boy tomorrow, whether I want to be, at the end of the day, I'm human. But sometimes it does trigger the fear in cases where, like, you know, like recently we've been having a lot of cases of the LGBTQI people who are just being killed simply because they were themselves. It then triggers the point that, although I feel like I'm a person, I'm a human, there are other people who find me different. And there is a possibility that they will just attack me anytime, any day, for their own reasons that I don't even know or that I'm not aware of. So like, that's just one of my fears, that you just wake up one day and then you come across a person who just doesn't know, like, why would they choose to fight you or maybe kill you or something? Do you get the idea? Because when as an individual, you'll feel like I'm a person, like I'm a human being. Above being gay, above being transgender, above being lesbian, I am a human being. That is how I'm gonna live my life. I live my life like a human being, but then you'll never know how the other people are looking at you.
And one of the things that I really love is that we are human beings before any other form of concept,
Exactly,
and before
my
any other
point.
form of norm. I feel like we have to understand ourselves as a race of species, as we as human beings, as much as there's
Yes.
diversity in
Exactly.
there's also diversity in
We
human
live in a
beings.
very like diverse world. Whether you are heterosexual, you're homosexual, even within people who are homosexual, you'll find different type of people within people who are homosexual. I cannot just be homosexual and expect you, if you're homosexual, to be the same as me. You can be identifying as gay, I can be identifying as gay, but I would prefer you to call me she, you would prefer to be called he. Even the other one who prefers to be called as she as me, they would not cross-dress, I will cross-dress. Like, we are like living in a very diverse world, that we have to understand that not everything has to make sense to you as an individual. Not everything has to make sense. So if it doesn't make sense, live it. If it doesn't make sense to you, live it.
Okay, let's come to this. In the LGBT community, I've been following one of the biggest people, including yourself, Lady Jimolax,
Okay.
the name of Lasizwe. Guys, you're doing big things.
I
For
understand.
me, when I see you, I feel like at the end of the day, or at some point, you should be like form part of this community to get specific advices and everything.
I
Because,
understand, and I get
the
where
big
that is
ups,
coming
the
from.
movement, it's powerful.
It's very powerful. Like, I wouldn't lie, honestly. Like, it's very evident. It's very powerful that the LGBTQI community is out here making big moves. Like, it's something that you can't ignore. Sometimes I feel
Yes.
like maybe it's one of the, if it's not like the major, it might be a minor impact that makes people turn into the hate to the society in some any other way. But for me personally, I feel like the thing that keeps them like part of the LGBTQI community moving and like standing for themselves is because you know that in most cases nobody's gonna stand for you unless it's yourself. Number one, you are different. You are classified as a person who's not normal to the society. So if you do not follow your dreams, like, how are you gonna end up? Like, it's I feel like even the people who came before us, they already set the standards. I don't know who those people are, but I feel like the bar has already been raised. So like each and every, whether you are young, I can even get the inspiration. I can see the hunger of these young kids who are part of the LGBTQI
Yeah.
community in them wanting, this upcoming generation is fire. They are burning. You can tell from like a very young age that these people are the future us. Like the future is them, because I feel like already the standards have been raised. So like the motivation behind it can be, number one, even when you get into a workplace, we're gonna be regarded as different. People are gonna think that you are less of a man or maybe a less of a woman. So like people like now are like, how can you do a man's job if you're not like fully men? This is how the society thinks. How can you make a woman's job if you're not fully woman? So like you are kind of like stuck in between the two. So like it's up to you as an individual. You stand for yourself. And I don't know where this comes from, but it's happening. And I've been trying to like find answers to it. But like most, if not, 90% of majority of the people who are in the LGBTQI community, they are academically gifted. I don't know why. It's something that I've been observing personally. Like, and it's even like, even most of the heterosexual people, they can say, hi, but like gay people are so smart. It's so unlike a person to find a gay person maybe in high school who's just not maybe performing, or just somebody who can perform beyond like mediocre to get basically what you want. I don't know like the reason behind it as well, but I love to see what's happening to our community, Shem. The wins.
The thing with that, because I've been thinking about it for so long, I feel like when it comes to the LGBT community, the success part of it is like, as a man or as a woman, as an individual, as a man, you possess male and female qualities at the same time.
Exactly.
You think like a man,
and
you
then
think like a woman
I
at the same
get your
time. And therefore, when
point.
there's a problem,
You can tackle it
you
either
can
way.
take it either way.
Yes.
Let's come to the second last question.
Okay.
Your biggest inspiration and motivation, the person that you say you look up to, and when you see this person, wow.
Okay. When it comes to me, I wouldn't say I have like an inspiration or somebody that keeps me going like personally, but I have quite a few people who actually gives me some kind of like a wake up call. Like, you know, when you're just there by yourself, you're just keeping your own business. But then when I look at you, I'm just like, Hawala, you need to wake up. Hawala, you need to work on your dreams. Like, Black Child, it's possible. Likes of Micheline Damase, like obviously, and the Queen herself, Bonang Mateba. When it comes to Moshendi, Abo Somi, like, I feel like each and every person who just got into where they feel like this is where I wanted to be, and like you had your own story on how to get there, because you know, like, everybody is here to tell their own story. So like my biggest inspiration is everybody out there who I cannot even name individual, whether big or small, whether you've seen or not, but if it actually you are one of the people who are pushing to get into your dreams, whether it's going to be like rough or you're going to have it hard or whatnot. But yeah, I feel like it motivates me a lot. It motivates me a lot, especially seeing somebody where I get to observe, like, okay, this is where you started. This is where you started, and this is what you did, and like this is where you are right now. It means that it is possible. Like, you know, like about Micheline Damasio, like now, like the public figures and the influencers in the making and the influencers already, like I used to love Micheline Damasio from like a very young age. I used to follow her YouTube channel. I would see like simple makeup tutorials, like makeup tutorials for beginners, you know, stuff like that. And like she used to have like about 2K views on Instagram, maybe even some, like when I watch, I'm like maybe the 500 view, and it's been there for like a week. She came from that point, and like now you see her progressing and then winning, and you're like, okay, so like if I was like the one who actually observed her starting from this point getting to this point, it means that it's possible. It's not like it's something that she's gonna tell me that I did not observe in the first place. I saw it by myself, so it is possible, no matter like whatever that you want. And also her giving us her reviews how she got there. Like, I had to chase my dreams, I had to like let go of certain things, I had to understand that I can't like actually have everything nice by myself. I had to have days that were like things are actually bad, but I still stick to myself. So like, yes, I feel like each and every person draws an inspiration from somewhere else, whether that person knows you or whether that person is known or not. So for me, it's not actually part of the LGBTQI community, but there are people who are already in the LGBTQI community that are making boss moves, but I can actually learn from, and they can actually inspire me.
I'm gonna name this one LGBT community making big boss moves. I really love that. One of the last questions, because I feel like I can speak a lot with you. It's very nice having you. Your content, I love content. I love a person who has content.
Thank you so much.
What can you say to a person who's growing in a family that is, because everything starts with a family.
Yes.
In a family whereby you find that they won't actually accept their type of sexual orientation.
Yes.
And then, but you find that this person, okay, in every other aspect of his life or her life, academically, she's excelling, or in other things, whatever that he or she touches, it becomes successful. Yes. But the only problem that this person has, it is his sexual orientation. He's confused. He doesn't know what's happening. This person is in a depressed mode. of what is actually happening to him or her, and it actually comes to a point of suicide, mental thoughts, things like that. What can you say to a person who might be viewing this video right now, and maybe possibly people who are gonna view this video but are having that fear of stepping out because of rejection, things like that, independency at an early age? You get the type of environment that is very harsh.
Yes.
What can you say?
I get a lot of DMs on my social media platforms from like young members of the LGBTQIA plus community who actually are like, for example, I come from like a family that is very homophobic. They are very aware that I'm like, I identify as like a certain person that is not regarded as heterosexual, but they just do not care. They just tend to like actually turn a blind eye when it comes to like a sexual orientation part. Where sometimes they would say words that they know that they are going to offend me in my presence. So, and like they are very young, like they would ask me, what would you advise me to do? And then when it comes to me, it's very difficult to advise such people, honestly. But okay, I'm going to say a few things. But I want to tell you this before. Like when it comes to me, I would say I am very privileged to come from like a type of family that I come from. I actually come from like only a family of two, which is me and my mom and my younger sister. So like in my absence, it's only my mom and my younger sister. So my mom has been supporting me from like the first day. Like she's been literally my pillar of strength throughout in everything. I think she recognized that I'm actually homosexual from like an age of, I think, 3 or 4 years, because I remember when I had to go to these graduation ceremonies for like grade R, for grade R, like pupils. I had to go to the graduation ceremony wearing a gown. A gown, those mini wedding gowns for like girls who go through graduation. It's like she's been supporting me. Sometimes as I grow up, we talk a lot. She tells me, Hore, if I am your mom and I accepted you for who you are, why should you care what another person else thinks? Because at the end of the day, I'm the person who feeds you. I'm the one who's rendering you a shelter to live in. Why should you care what the other people say? So like now it comes difficult for me, who grew in such a privileged, when it comes to like, I'm honestly like eternally grateful for the support I got from my family. I couldn't be here where I am besides my mom, because she's been there for me. Even when I feel like, man, this is actually a lot for me. She's like, what is a lot for you? You are being yourself and I accepted you for who you are being. So why should people from the outside matter most if I, as your mom, have accepted you for who you are? So like now it gets difficult. But what I can say for people who are actually coming from like maybe homophobic space or homophobic families, it's very hard. I understand like it's struggles of being a part of the LGBTQ community, especially if like you are at a young age. You can't, for example, you can't get an apartment for yourself. You are actually desperate. You are desperate for you to be where you are right now. You just have, I would advise them, they should just bear with the situation, as bad as it is. But the only thing they can do right now is to bear with the situation, and they should never ever leave themselves or forget who they are. At this point, they should just carry on with how things are, I can say. Maybe finish their matric if they haven't yet completed their matric, because like you cannot be out there not having a family at a very young age. And then probably I feel like things get better when you get into university. That is just the dynamic of it. Like things eventually like automatically get better when you get into university, because this is a space where like everybody's minding their own business. Like you get to grow up and you understand like, now I'm working on my future. Why should I be concerned about what the other person does or what do they not do? So like I feel like they should just bear until they get at least to like a university point. That is where things get like quite different and simpler, because I have a lot of people that I know, their coming out story started when they get to varsity. Like people have been like straight acting throughout their journeys of their lives, and then when you get to university, you like start to experience, okay, fine, I have the freedom, the freedom to be myself, so it doesn't matter anymore who says what or what not. I'm in adulthood now, so like I have to start getting like all my things collected and my priorities are in order. So like they should just back Gazelle until they get to this stage, I would say.
Okay. Outside talk show viewers, we would like you to tell them where can they get you from the media platforms, various media platforms, whereby they can follow you, check types of advices that you're giving there, because I see that big moves that you're making there. Where can they get you?
They can get me on Instagram at @khauhelo_101, and on Facebook it's khauhelo mudian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, RSA Talk Show viewers. LGBTQ making big moves, guys. This one, I really love it, guys. This is powerful, guys. And see you next time, guys. Comment there on the comment section. And we'd like to hear your views and opinions. Thank you so much, guys. See you next time.